Sort of made a huge trade a few weeks ago. We got one preseason game together. What are you expecting from their new look tomorrow?
From their new look? I think they added two really good players in Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo, but to me, their greatness as a team starts with Anthony Edwards and their defense, particularly Gobert and the ball hawks that they have on the perimeter. They make it really tough for you to run a fluid offense because they're so physical at the point of attack. And Anthony Edwards is just a fantastic player. So, you know, Randall and DiVincenzo, it's another layer, but to me, that's where it starts with them.
You're a details person, a weeds person, I believe was the way you framed it.
Plural. Just make sure it's plural. Make sure it's plural.
How in the weeds did you get in your first prep for a team? How much minutia have you gone over when it comes to Minnesota?
Yeah. I think last week against Phoenix was a good dress rehearsal for myself and our staff, particularly with just the flow of prep and the flow of presentation to the team of how a game day is going to look. When you get to the regular season, you're hoping that how you would like to game plan for an opponent matches everything you've installed. And because we've been super deliberate, like we've really been very opponent specific over the last 2 days in practice, and obviously tomorrow at shoot around will be as well. But that part of it's been fun.
JJ, what would you say are the things that give you a strong comfort level entering this season, and what are the things that you anticipate this will be kind of a process to iron out?
Learning not to get too high and too low. Actually, probably not too high, too low. That's the challenge.
Okay. And what are the things that give you a strong comfort level from what you've seen in camp and preseason?
Communicating. I've felt very comfortable in game, whether that's been timeouts, adjustments. Again, Thursday was great for me. I got some end game stuff that we got to do, some strategy stuff, end game. So we've drilled that stuff in practice. But I've said this now for like 5 months. I'm open-minded on this. The challenge for me is not to beat myself up too much and be too self-critical, but I am going to be critical of self. That's just naturally how I'm going to operate. But I'm comfortable, confident. We got work to do to continue to get better, but we feel as a group, both players and coaches, that we're prepared to start a regular season.
Is the plan to get LeBron and Bronny on the court together Tuesday?
Nothing's been finalized for anything. Yeah.
You mentioned being self-critical and not wanting to get
Hey, Taylor.
low. Hi, Jay.
How are you?
Good to see you as Lakers head coach. You mentioned not getting too low. What are the moments that you maybe find yourself doing that?
Yeah. The two, self-criticalness and the low points kind of go hand in hand. If we aren't executing, meaning like the things that we've emphasized and the things we've taught are not happening and translating to the court, I tend to blame myself. I trust my coaches, so there's not been any like, why are we doing this? You guys said you coached this. It's more just like, am I not communicating this in a clear way? Because it's not happening on the court. That's a low. Losing is a low. Losing is a low for sure. And that's where throughout the season, we just have to maintain as a group, because it's going to happen to all of us. We have to maintain that this is a process. Our goal is to get better every single game, every single week. And we believe as a group, if we do that and embrace that by the end of the regular season, we'll be a really good team and be able to contend.
You've been through season openers as a player, clearly, but now as a head coach. Does it feel different? How does it feel different?
I was asked a similar question yesterday, and I'll sort of repeat the answer, which is there's a duality to it. It simultaneously feels very familiar, and it also feels very new. The newness part is exciting. The familiar part is also exciting because I really missed it, and I craved it over the last 3 years, and so it's fun. It's just fun to be back in the mix.
Parity's been a point of emphasis for the league for maybe the last decade, and there's been CBA triggers to try to support that state. How do you feel about this NBA that you're entering into as a coach, especially the Western Conference? I think you could look 1 through 12, 1 through 13, and say there's a lot of opponents here.
Yes. I'd say overall, outside of just the way the CBA is currently structured, I feel that there is better league-wide, there's better roster and asset management, better roster construction. I feel that the depth of top-tier talent is as good as it's ever been in the NBA. And I'm not comparing eras to whether Michael Jordan was better than LeBron James. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the depth of top-tier talent. Like, there are a lot of awesome players that are NBA, all-NBA caliber, all-star caliber, more so than I remember at any point in time in my career. And I would add that I think there's more star role players than ever, and guys who have really figured out, and maybe it's possibly because a role player now makes 20 to 25 million a year if you star in your role. Guys are really embracing playing a role and being complementary to that depth of stars. I think that's part of the reason this parity has been created as well.
Is this part of your coaching responsibility then to prepare your team more often than not to play a worthy opponent than maybe a coach had to do a decade ago?
Yeah, I just don't fundamentally believe at any point in time, with the exception of maybe the 16-17 Warriors, that at any point in time in my career, like, you could just go out there and roll the ball out and out-talent people. So I don't necessarily think the preparation or mindset around preparation changes for me.
I know it's
And that's not to say Steve Kerr, you guys. I already see it in my brain. I already not the tweets, but I already see it in my brain. I know Steve Kerr prepared those guys and his coaching staff. I'm not suggesting that at all. I'm just saying, like, for talent-wise, that team was so far ahead of everybody else at the time.
I know it's threes all around. What do you want to see from AD tomorrow? Should it be on the arc and just this team?
Yeah, we just literally had a meeting upstairs about it. You guys are taking away from my meeting times with all my players today. We just want to find the balance. I thought we'd done that in the preseason with the different areas of the floor where he can be effective, and also mixing in, keeping the defense honest if they're, all the way in the paint. He has the freedom, and I truly believe he has the confidence right now to shoot a few threes a game, and he's shown the willingness to do that, and that's been the biggest part for me. We're gonna, our job, of course, is to find the balance and make sure he's touching the ball and being involved in the offense on nearly every possession. Sometimes in early offense, if we're getting throw-aheads and we're attacking the paint, we're getting spray-out threes, he's naturally going to be in a trail spot, and he's not going to be involved in that possession. But when we're in our structure, he should be involved in nearly every possession. All right, thanks.
Thank you.